This is Our View, the voice of working families, brought to you by the proud members of the Washington Federation of State Employees. A long session of the legislature and the Senate still could not pass a budget. So the community that represents the real people gathered outside the Senate office building and sent a message. It was a message from public workers, labor, teachers, parents, the faith community, students, and retired people. The message was pass a budget that represents real family values.
The time has already run out on the regular legislative session, and here we are in a, quote, special session? I don't think there's anything special about this, do you? No! I want our contracts funded right now, do you? Yes! I want our paramount duty of the state invested in, do you? Yes! I want the revenue needed from capital gains, do you? Yes!
We're here to demand revenue for our families, revenue for schools, revenue for teachers. We have a paramount duty that hasn't been filled. We need to get revenue invested in our communities now. I'm out here calling for a tax on capital gains because the wealthy ought to be paying their fair share. We can do a better job, tax the capital gains, get that revenue into our community, and fund our schools now. We're going to be here until we get revenue for our communities. We're going to be here until we get revenue for our public sector workers. We're going to be here until we get our contracts funded, because that is what it's going to take. Us coming here every single day if we need to demand revenue for our public sector workers, for our public teachers, for our public investments, because the budget is a reflection of our values. And we need to have a budget that reflects our values for working families and the communities that we serve. So we're going to be out here with public sector workers, teachers, the community, faith groups, seniors, kiddo advocates, fighting every single day if we have to get a budget that reflects our values and get the revenue that we need now. Let's tax capital gains. Let's do everything we can to fund the budget.
I think it's so critical that they hear from us. This is about bringing people power to those that we've elected to say that we want to see a budget that reflects our values, because the budget is a moral document. And I think we all value investing in families, investing in schools, investing in public sector workers, investing in mental health counselors. I want to see healthy communities. Do you? Yeah!
While some members of the Washington legislature dragged their feet in approving the negotiated employee contracts, members of the Federation offered a challenge to the members of the Senate. That is, walk a day in our shoes and experience what it's like to deliver the services you fund for the people of our state. Hundreds of state employees use social media to personally offer their senators a day on their jobs.
Hi, my name is Jeff Hallett, and my senator is Senator Steve Conway.
Ken Garcia, my senator is Guy Palumbo.
Don Stevens, and my senator is Phil Fortunato.
And we challenge our senators to come to the University of Washington and walk a day in our shoes as fire alarm technicians. Our work is vital to the university. If we do not get our competency tests finished on an annual basis, it will mean the closure of classroom buildings. So we are losing people through the lack of pay, and it's very important that our contract gets funded for this year.
Hi, Senator Erickson. My name is Dan Andresen. I work at Walker Community College as a maintenance mechanic. I am a public employee, and I would like to invite you to come and see what I do for a living on a daily basis.
My name is Selena Willis, and I work for Pierce South VSHS office. I challenge the Washington State Senate to walk a day in my shoes. The work I do is critical because I help families get back on their feet, invest in Washington, and fund our contracts.
Hi, my name is Donna Domina. I work at Fircrest School. I'm an adult training specialist too. I'm challenging Kirk Pearson to seriously, I would love to see you on Fircrest ground walking any of our shoes.
I challenge the Washington State Senate to walk a day in my shoes as a public employee. The work I do is critical because without it, seniors might languish in their homes without anybody knowing of their particular predicaments. We are depending on our lawmakers to invest in Washington and fund our contracts so we can keep providing the best public services possible to our communities.
Hi, my name is Leonard.
And my name is Amber.
And I'd like to challenge Senator Frock and
Senator Saldana
to walk a day in our shoes as public employees. The work we do is critical because we serve a population of patients who are usually underinsured, dealing with lots of disabilities. And again, we challenge you to walk a day in our shoes.
And we're depending on our lawmakers to invest in Washington and fund our contracts so we can keep providing the best public services possible to our communities.
Hello, I'm Mike Rowland, and I'm a maintenance mechanic here at the University of Washington Medical Center. And this is Scott Gathers.
I'm also a maintenance mechanic here at University of Washington Medical Center. My senator is Senator Elias, and from what I'm being told, he is backing us. How about your senator?
My senator is Mark Milosha, and he is not, but I would like for him to join us and agree with this and help us with this raise. I challenge you and his senator also to come down for one day and work with us to see what we do and the things that we do in this hospital. Without those things that we do in this hospital will not run.
Federation members from several state agencies met with Congressman Denny Heck to ask about the effects of the proposed federal budget on the funding for those agencies and the services they provide. Our members also asked about the challenges this administration will present to labor, the input citizens can actually have on the process, and the efforts, if any, to address income inequality.
Yeah, let me be very clear. They're coming after the House. They're coming after the House of Labor, and they're coming after it in a full-throated fashion. They're going to come after the NLRB. They're going to come after the Little Davis-Bacon Act. They're going to come after project labor agreements. They're going to come after you in every which way they can. They will seek to reinvigorate Friedrichs. They will make it very difficult for your union to speak on your collective behalf in any way they think they can get away with. I think it's going to be difficult for them to do that in too many regards. You can finally give thanks that there's a requirement for 60 votes on policy legislation changes in the Senate. And we have a handful of Republicans in the House, mostly members of what we call the Tuesday group. These are moderate Republicans. Yes, there are still a few left who did not take an oath to declare war on the House of Labor. But they're coming for you. They're coming for you. They fundamentally don't believe, most of them fundamentally don't believe in collective bargaining. They don't believe in collective action. Your voice does matter. And if you don't believe your voice matters, you took the wrong lesson out of our defeat of the repeal of the Affordable Care Act. And I think the battle that you should join is on the budget front, because I think that's where they will be. And that's where we should amass our forces and defeat them on that battlefield. And I think your voice does matter. And I get back to what I said earlier. You also have to stay active locally and at the state level, because we can be, again, a bulwark against a lot of the things they're trying to do. And, as Nancy is a single voice, you're not going to change the tide of either the outcome of the 2016 presidential election or the current United States Congress. But doggone it, you can be one voice in a chorus that is having an impact. And it's not going to win every day, but it can win. If you don't believe that, they've already won. That's what they want you to believe, that your voice won't make a difference. Don't give them power over your voice. So I don't think there's a single strategy for dealing with the effects of income inequality. I think it's a series of things. I think it is the efforts to raise the minimum wage are important. The federal minimum wage is $7.35 an hour. Raise your hand if you're willing to live on $7.35 an hour. That's what I thought. But I think it is also as a part of the broader approach, making sure that we don't shred the fabric of support for the vulnerable. They will also come after SNAP, or what we used to call food stamps. They will also come after other welfare programs, the very people that are struggling the hardest to get some purchase or traction in an economy. I think it also includes having a strong education system, not taking the Betty DeVos approach of privatizing it and benefiting the people of the privileged or the wealthy few. I also think it's important that this country continue to make the kinds of public investments that yield not just faster economic growth, but good job growth. And that's not just education, that would be in research and development. And a good example is National Institute of Health. The president has proposed reducing it by 20%, almost $6 billion. So investing in research and development so that in a world that is rapidly changing, we can innovate as fast as is possible. I also think that it's important that we make increased investments in infrastructure. The American Society of Civil Engineers gives us an F for the overall state of our infrastructure. You know it, you drive on those roads and those bridges and broadband in rural areas. Can you all say Flint, Michigan, water systems? We need to invest in these things, not to create jobs in the building trades in the short term, although it will do that, but to lay the foundation for long-term economic growth and not allow countries to leapfrog over us.
If our new president is looking for support for his programs, he needs to look no further than the workers of the country when it comes to his campaign promise to rebuild the nation's infrastructure. Recently, AFL-CIO President Richard Trumka told a congressional committee that an entire trained workforce is ready to take this on.
We're all familiar with the American Society of Civil Engineers estimate that our infrastructure deficit is approaching $4 trillion. The reality is our infrastructure is rapidly becoming technologically obsolete. To truly be competitive in the 21st century, we must invest in the transformative infrastructure of the future. This century's version of the Transcontinental Railroad and the National Highway System. So our failing infrastructure may be an obstacle and a challenge, but fixing it is really a powerful opportunity. During his campaign, President Trump spoke about $1 trillion in new infrastructure investment. We believe that's the right scale to be talking about, trillions, and the labor movement is ready to work with this committee to turn words into actions. We want investments that create good jobs, that meet the real needs of our economy. Any other path takes us backwards because investments in infrastructure create the foundation for a long-term growth. Building the infrastructure of the 21st century is vital to both our nation's competitiveness and to the hopes of hard-working people to lead better and more prosperous lives. So the labor movement is ready to fight here in Washington and across our great nation to see a transformative, inclusive infrastructure program enacted. We need to bring 21st century technology and good jobs to the entire country. And once that investment is made, the labor movement stands ready with the most highly skilled and well-trained workforce to get the job done. $1 trillion in new infrastructure investment would make a big difference to working Americans and put our nation on the path to sustainable prosperity. How we invest matters.
This has been Our View, brought to you by the members of the Washington Federation of State Employees. We remind you, when you accept a paycheck for your hard work, you don't give up your rights. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month.